Okay, I want to go over some stuff that Mr. Alex Collier has written in the past. All of his stuff is given freely. It's out on the internet, and he does state that this information is free. He gives it free. So I don't want to hear it about YouTube fucking I'm plagiarizing shit. Okay, you need to back off. People need to know about this stuff. All right. Like I said in the last few videos, I've been thinking about, what the hell's going on with me. And I realized that, they know the DNA on the planet, okay? If you know the DNA on the planet, you can send frequencies to that person and manage to try and manipulate them. And apparently, this is all tied back to the Greys and our government and the Illuminati and all this stuff. Now, in Stuart Swerdlow's book, 13 Cubed, he says there's this seeding program. I'm going to read this out loud to you. Okay? And here's some bases you can look. These are underground bases and tunnels. Okay, so I'm just going to read. The story provides an extreme insightful view into the term by the Illuminati as a seeding program. This type of program began in the Nazi era and continued after the end of World War II. It was designed to perpetuate the German concept of the Aryan superior race. The seeding program was conducted by finding a male and female with genetics that closely resembled or was identical to the original human Lyrian ideal. These genetics include blonde hair, blue eyes, red hair, green eyes, or any combination thereof. Very often these genetics are found in the Celtic and Germanic people. Sometimes Russian and other Eastern Europeans are used for this breeding purpose. Usually the ancestries of these people can be traced to the ancient Viking origins. Okay. The Nazi matchmakers mated males and females of these desirable genetics to produce offspring with similar genetics. The infants were preliminary programmed, then either placed in an adoption agency that worked with the international Nazi network, or placed directly with a family trained to raise the child in a specific manner. The adoptive parents then became the handlers of the child. In the United States, many of these children of the seeding program were placed in the northern Midwest, the Rocky Mountain states, part of the Appalachia, and the many rural areas of California, Texas, the Pacific Northwest. They were monitored frequently. Their progress and further programming were closely analyzed. They were part of a system created in the 1930s to create superchildren that would be the next phase of humanity. Many of these children, and in the case, were used in sexual ritual because of their mind power, and physical bodies could take so much. Most normal children would have died from the experiences these super kids were put through. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are more easily programmed due to an enzyme in their DNA that allows for an overlay of instructions. This could be an indication of genetic manipulation going back millions of years. Many of these seeded children were themselves made to reproduce, in turn placing their offspring up for adoption so that a new phase or level of the seeding program could be observed and solidified. The offspring also inherited ancient programming, becoming very valuable and prized by the elite families that quote-unquote owned them. It was from this program that genetic combinations and sequences were created that were then seeded into the standard population, inclusive of genetic programming. These are now known as the indigo children or the star children. Okay, do you remember back in 2012, the whole new age people were like, oh, the indigo children, you're a star seed, you're special, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it was all a fucking game to them. Horrible game. These are the Illuminati terms given to a new crop of genetically altered children who are specifically programmed to perform certain functions for their New World Order masters. These women have made memories of ritual ceremonies where she is used in many ways for creating in physical reality. Her genetics are perfect for programming and her monarch functions. Okay, the monarch is the butterfly, the whole, oh, you're flighty and stuff like that. Her adopted father, an excellent and strict handler for her. She needed to do a lot of release work. So he's talking about a case here. Monarch butterfly deprogramming procedures. Okay. So basically, they're saying that monarchs, supposedly me, are able to handle a lot of abuse. Okay. Now, beta monarch is the sexual, and I guess alpha is the more of a military grade programming. They say that, in this book, he says, both the males and the females have bisexual abilities and desires. Well, not really, but this is necessarily due to ritualistic requirements where they may have to participate in sexual activities with both sexes, okay? So, what he's saying is basically, that he says here towards the end, the good news is that when a monarch seriously starts deprogramming themselves, the results are fast. Okay, in other words, you can say, wait a minute, there's something wrong, stop, this is not going right. Okay, we have the ability to self-correct. That's what targeted individuals are. We're able to say, wait, stop, there's something wrong. Okay, I don't like that line of BS. Your BS meter goes up and says, no, this is wrong. Okay, so I think the TIs were part of the seeding program, and all this goes back to the 1930s. You can thank the Nazis for this. So now, what I want to talk to you about, he says when I read this. I go, what are the Lyrian? What does Lyrian mean? What do they mean by human Lyrian? Okay. Well, the Lyrian race, according to what Alex Collar says, is wait a minute, they apparently at one time came across human colonies in Lyria. Okay. Now, the human race per se was not created in the Lyrian system. It was brought here to survive, and again, from the Andromedans, of course, he talks to the Andromedans. They have told me, for some reason, once they go back 427 million years, they just don't know what else is there. For some reason, although the physicality is there, there is no history of races before that, at least of that they know in the Lyrian system. Okay, so this is what he says about what happened. Here's a little bit of background. Anyway, the Draconians were flying through there and came across a human colony, which were agricultural in nature. Okay? Because of their talents in horticulture, these humans were making the plants better, like gardens. When the Draconians came and saw this incredible wealth of food, they basically wanted to control it. Apparently, there was a misunderstanding, and the Lyrians wanted to know more about the Draconian race before they gave them what they wanted. And apparently the Draconians misunderstood this request, went back to attack the planets. They blew up 3 of them and killed a lot of people. So the Draconians blew up 3 of our planets. Okay? The Lyrians were forced to migrate and scattered into different paths of the galaxy. So the action did facilitate colonization, although I wrestle with whether the Draconians were planted here specifically to force us to evolve, or that there is some other agenda here. Okay. He goes, I do not know that there are other reptilian races that are descendants of the Draconians, and many of them are master geneticists. I'm told that most of the dinosaurs were brought here and to Mars, where they came first. Our current human form was crafted on Mars, where the primate and human genes were combined, and then brought to Earth to work as slaves in the mines. So we're still working for a paycheck. Okay. So, now he talks about, how we have extreme motions and our essence, okay? Now, what I want to talk to you about is, I think what I am probably battling is the grays. More the grays than the draconians. The reason why is because I just have, all these gang stalkers, they wear their black shades and they're, the whole thing at nighttime when I sleep, I see through the pineal gland this whole, big eyes, right? Well, those are the grays, okay? I have somehow been linked up to this gray illegally, Okay, so I'm just going to read this. The abduction of humans. The reason the Greys are doing so many abduction is one, for genetics. They're trying to bring the race together. They are creating hybrids, most of which are females. Okay, I'm sure they're doing females because they want to control. They were more controllable or something. Okay. There are very few male hybrids. The problem is that they have a hard time keeping them alive because spirit will not attach to them. The life force will not attach to it, so they are abducting the human mothers and children and peeling off the vital body, containing the energy and feeding it to the hybrids of some lineage. They're trying to create a soul and they just can't do it. Okay, apparently the Greys are in big trouble, and that's their fault. He says here, the permission to do this from the governments was in trade for manipulative technology for humans to use against humans. Ultimately for upper hierarchy alien benefit to further repression of the oh, it got cut off. I don't have the next page. I'm sorry. So that's the whole thing about, abducting humans a little bit. Which also, okay, so here's like all the deep underground military bases. These are the dumbs, according to what he says, okay? There's a shitload of them, and they're everywhere. Okay, so I know I'm jumping around, and it's, just kind of bear with me a little bit. There are many problems that come with this. The Greys are really interested in female genetic stock. Okay, that is your divine feminine. That is, your symbolism for the upside down triangle and all that horse shit. This is all Freemasonry. So all this shit that I've been through is Freemasonry, and it's tied directly to the Greys. Okay, so here we go. The Greys are really interested in female genetic stock because all the family lineage flows or follows the female line as far as they're concerned. Many new races have been created this way throughout our galaxy. It's not just something that came about new here. It's been going on for a very, very long time. Few races today remain as pure original genetic stock, with the exception of two races that the Andromedans say are really clean. Okay. Alright, here we go. Those two races are the reptilians from Alpha Draconis, and the other are those that we know as the Elohim, which are a very ancient race of humans that survived the wars in Lyri. Okay? Okay, so all the other races in the universe, as far as the Andromedans know, are a mixture of hybrid genetic stock. Okay, one thing I want to read out to you really quick. I only got 2 minutes. Many people who have been implanted by the Greys are aware of the fact that they have been put on a kind of a machine and are being trained in some kind of activity. According to the Andromedans, the Greys are training humans to fight their wars against the Draconians when they arrive here. Okay, that's probably going to be their second cup. Okay? They intend on using humans as soldiers against the reptilians while at the same time preparing the planet for its new, soon-to-be arriving owners. This has very serious implications for us. Like I said, they want to transform this whole planet into their world. Okay. Now he talks about how we have to stand in the space of love and all that, but I've already dealt with the love deal and it's not working. We're dealing with high technology manipulating humans, and this needs to end. I gotta go.